Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another very interesting episode of Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by ET Unwired. The series is geared towards identifying leaders and understanding the very traits, routines, and thought process that makes these leaders stand out in the industry across different sectors and verticals. During the conversation, we will try to get a glimpse of the person, both personal and professional, who not only takes critical business decisions, but ensures that the revenue clock keeps ticking. And today, we have a very special guest with us, who is from the technology domain, Mr. Raman Krishnamoorthy, who is the Vice President of Information Technology at Bata India Limited. Thank you so much for joining us, Raman.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting journey today.
Diving straight into the conversation, uh, you know, if I had to ask Raman Krishnamurthy to tell me about his leadership approach in a nutshell, or what he thinks leadership is, what would his reply be?
I think one of the key things which I identified myself as being a leader is, to be a people-oriented person. Now, I felt that if I cannot take my people along, I'm not a leader. So for me, the key focus always has been to be people-oriented. And of course, as a leader, I need to be self-motivated because I don't have anybody else to come and motivate me continuously. I need to be self-motivated. I need to be accountable to whatever actions I take. I need to be responsible every decision I take. So I guess that's in a nutshell is my leadership trait.
Very interestingly, you said that you don't have leaders who come and motivate you, right? And you have to be self-motivated. But obviously, there must be some personalities that you would look up to, right? In the tech domain that you would have obviously followed, while you were, in your career trying to become a technology leader yourself. Who are they, and what do you imbibe from them?
I mean, honestly speaking, a lot of people I can talk about, but I've been super impressed by what Steve Jobs had done to this domain. Um, and in India, of course, I'm pretty much impressed with what Mr. Azim Premji has done. Um, uh, Based on managing a big organization, creating such a mammoth organization, and still being so humble and down to earth. So I guess these are values which I can easily imbibe from him to be down to earth. And no matter how big or how high you reach, you still need to have a very clear vision of the ground below.
You know, uh, Typically, heads of ITs, CIOs, CTOs, CDOs, and CISO roles are changing throughout organizations, right? At a time when, there was a time when you guys had to fight for budget approvals. And now every decision that happens, IT needs to be involved, right? And then we've seen a trend that a lot of CTOs and CIOs are now becoming or graduating into CEOs, right? So, how do you see the trend, and how has it changed your life from a very personal professional angle, in the sense of how your work hours has changed, how your perception around work has changed? How has it actually impacted you?
Look, I mean, IT primarily has always been cost center, right? And even today, IT majority of the organization is always looked at as a cost center. Now, to transition from a cost center role to being part of part of a profit center is a big shift. I mean, unless I have a visibility of what the company is going to be making or how my technology intervention is going to help the company to move forward, as a leader, I wouldn't be contributing. So I think that is why it's very important that the CIO or the CISO or the CTO needs to be a part of the management decisions so that he or she has a very clear visibility of how the organization is going to be impacted with their decisions. So I guess the shift has been quite dramatic for me. While I still tend to look at myself as a part of the cost factor, but I think every decision I make I need to keep in mind that while I may not be directly contributing to the top line, I'm definitely contributing to the bottom line.
You know, uh, I couldn't agree more with what you just said, and I think that's where we'll see uh, the trend shifting. And I know that while these roles have changed for you, before we began this conversation, I think offline, me and you were chatting, and you said that there are also a lot of changes at the home front because of the pandemic. So how, what new skills did you pick up? What changed, in your day? Uh, please let us know. Um,
I mean, I learned different ways to mop the floor. I don't know, one with your hand or one with a stick, a long stick with a small piece of cloth tied at the bottom end. And you know how you dip it into the bucket and then squeeze it out and then start mopping. I mean, it was a different kind of an exercise and a different kind of experience. Honestly speaking, during our normal course of life, we wouldn't have even given it a thought how difficult or how mundane that job is. But it's only when I got involved in it, because of the schedules that we strictly put in the house. I took up the job of doing this activity, cleaning the floors, cleaning the glass panes, and a lot of things. I mean, it's very interesting, but I think the lockdown really made me so humble that no job is big enough. Every job has its value.
and is there any other lesson that you would sort of imbibe from these exercises at home, and you would want to put them into your team, or you would want to imbibe in your professional life?
Uh, I think it's teamwork at the end of the day, right? Even in the house, I mean, when we distributed the jobs to say that, okay, we are three active people in the house and two aged parents. So we decided to distribute the work among ourselves and work in tandem. So I guess, teamwork is very, very important. We need to appreciate each other's work. We need to ensure that, we give a helping hand whenever that is necessary. So it's not just about the household. I mean, when we looked outside, when we started looking at how this pandemic was actually creating a big chaos outside, where people were, struggling to get food and water. That's the point in time, and I realized that, while I may not be able to go out and serve people, I may definitely contribute whatever I have and to organizations which can go out and help these people. So I guess uh, we have to work together to make anything happen. We cannot do anything alone.
At the beginning, you made a very pertinent distinction that you would like to be seen as a leader and not as a boss. And with whatever is going on today, uh, you know a leader usually sort of helps people progress in their career, right? What is your opinion, and how do you see this whole this whole sort of trend and talk towards equitable workforce, right? What's your view on having a gender a workforce with no gender bias?
I mean, definitely. I mean, why would we even have a gender-related discussion? I mean, at the end of the day, as humans, we may be man and women, but the fact is that today uh, uh, every person has the capability to achieve their goals. So, honestly speaking, if I have in front of me boys and girls to interview and bring on force, I would take the best candidate. And if the best candidate happens to be a woman, so be it. So we need the best candidate in the team, right? So I really do not make any distinctions, be it a man or a woman. So for me, uh, that's a no-no, right? I believe in work getting done by the best person available in the team.
There also has been a lot of challenges that companies faced during the pandemic. What are some of the key challenges and opportunities that you faced as a leader during the pandemic?
For me, as an individual, as a leader, leading a big organization's IT, one of the key things was to ensure that the infrastructure provided to the individual users is safe, right, and that they are able to use it effectively, access the resources that they would need to do their day-to-day work, and provide them a platform through which they can collaborate and interact with their colleagues and bosses. I mean, that for me was the first and foremost in the list of priorities. And yeah, I mean, we were able to do a good job, honestly speaking. But what I was more challenged was what happens if somebody's laptop is broken and I need to rush something to the person? How would we do it? What if it's a very critical resource? Now, those are things definitely that was there on top of my mind. Yeah, but honestly, it was pretty easy go for us.
Very fortunate for you. You know, there is always certain things, right, that a leader practices, and a leader would always say that practice makes perfect, right? So what are some of the practices, or what are some of these mantras that you have that keeps you focused at what you do and makes you better or perform way better than any other person in the company?
Oh, well, it's no personally. I'm a very straightforward guy. I don't have to bend or mend words to really say something. Okay. I tend to not hurt people. I tend to take people along with me. Um, for me, what's important is to bring facts on the table and be upfront with it. I mean, there's no point in hiding things because it's not going to help anyone. At some point in time, it's going to come up, and it's going to come up rather big at the time. So I'm very upfront and straightforward. Right? So this is what has kept on going, and I'm a people man, so I take people along. For me, I'm not your boss or anything. I mean, you're my colleague, and I will chat with you the same way I would chat with my boss. So I make no distinction there. So to an extent, it really helps people because I'm approachable. They come and talk to me. They can come and freely share their problems and requirements with me. So it gives me a kind of opportunity to really discuss in depth with them when people come and talk to me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how I can compare myself with others. I don't really want to do that. Different people have different traits. This, I believe, has helped me throughout my journey in this industry.
you know let's move on to things fun. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? I mean, what keeps you sane, I mean, amidst all this insane rush for business and operations that needs to be done and finished?
I picked up this habit, in 2006. So I started playing golf, and those 4 5 hours outside on the green, is really an experience. And I would do anything to be there. And post the pandemic, when things started opening up, and that's the first thing that I did, start my golf. So I guess that's one of the key hobbies I have with me. Throughout the week, I may not get so much of exercise, but on a Saturday morning, I'm on the golf course playing the full 18 holes. So that's the first thing. The second, of course, I love binge watching, and if there is a particular TV series which is now on the OTT platform, be it a Netflix or a Amazon Prime, if there is a particular series which is quite catching, and I would binge it. So for
Is
me,
there
the
is there
best way to
is there a particular genre that you like? Is there something that you like, especially when you're...
yeah, I mean, something which is, let's say, for example, it could be a detective kind of series, or something which is something like a person of interest, which was running on Amazon Prime, Um, it's a completely different series, right? There are many such series. I mean, I love to binge it. So it really helps me relax. And my wife tells me, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, sitting out there. I said, come on, I don't even have to bother about what's happening out in the field. So I'm relaxed here. Let me be in this zone. So I guess
You
that's
know,
how I keep saying.
I do get it. It's obviously, you know, I mean, if you go back to the age-old idiom or a proverb, right? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I do get the message from your response. Before we conclude the first segment, or we conclude this cutting chai story, and before I let you go, uh, what would be two or three things that you would probably advise or suggest to aspiring young IT graduates, engineers who are, out there striving, you know, and aiming to be in a position that you have?
And the first and foremost thing is to decide what you want in life, what a person would want in life, right? I mean, as soon as they graduate out of an engineering college or from a management college, it becomes very difficult for them to really choose a path. But it's important that if I like something, and if my heart and soul is in it, then pursue it and stay focused. So I think that's the foremost thing which people need to keep in mind. A lot of time what happens is that people tend to lose focus over a period of time, and it's not because uh, the job is not interesting or anything. It's just because they did not possibly choose the right kind of job or activity. So that's avoidable, because if I make the right choice in the beginning, I can, and I stick to it, then I will be happy with what I do. So for me, I mean, that's an example which I can give for my own life. So I'm a cost accountant, but I chose IT as my professional role, because I found IT to be something which I can really relate with, and something I can engage with and passionately serve. So, and I remained true to that, and I have completed 30 years of my service, and 32 years today, actually. So, yeah, be passionate about what you do, stay focused, and decide what you want to do, and don't just deviate from that path.
Well said, well said. If there is anybody who's listening in, watching in to this episode, as Sir said, stay focused, don't deviate from the path. And I think these are the key messages that would help you climb the success ladder, if we can call it that, in life. Thank you so much, for being with us, Mr. Krishnamurthy.